this is loaded, and in fact, I was saying that, you can't give what you don't have.
Absolutely not.
We cannot give what we don't have. If we want to change the world, we want to, no self-actualization. Because look at it, the whole genesis of sin, the whole genesis of wrongdoing is me. I want to satisfy me, my needs. Me, I want this, this, that, that. But now, as even Abe said, that we should renew. One of the reasons for the show is also to actually provoke our thinking, to renew our minds, because a lot is going on. And the thing is, nobody's accountable to anybody. In some instances, people just live their lives and say, whatever, I'm the boss of myself, I'm the boss of me, I can do whatever I want to do. And it's time now to actually start thinking about thinking intentionally and living more purposefully, and also living a life that, GB mentioned something that, at the end, on your tombstone, what is it that they're going to write there? The people are they going to say the truth or going to lie? As even Tayo said, a lot of where we are finding a discrepancy in a lot of homes or cases in lives is that what we say don't tally with what we do. And so kids get confused. Even when it comes to the gender, I realized that they said, when I was reading something, they said the female child, you can still go with her when you tell a female child something, don't do this, she's more likely to listen to you. But a male child would actually is more influenced by what you do than what you say. By what you do than what you say. So how can adults, maybe I should not even go there. Okay, please, you want to give the right thing. Please make sure you have the right thing first. Make sure you take care of you first. Make sure you work on yourself first. Because you cannot give what you don't have. Now, because of our time, I think I'm going to take a few more minutes, because we're supposed to finish at 1, but I'm going to take a few more because I still have other questions that I want to ask. I'm going to share my screen now, and I want to show you a diagram that I discovered. Abraham Maslow here. Can we see it?
Yeah.
Abraham Maslow, and this is the hierarchy of needs. Yeah. And he said everybody have basic needs. Now I want to take it back to even countries where, even in Africa or probably third world countries, they say physiological needs, whereby everybody has basic needs: food, water, warmth, rest, and everything. You have basic needs of safety needs, security, safety. Then as you go up the pyramid, when you meet the basic needs, then you can think of something else.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Now, if we say, okay, I want to have better values, I want to have these values, that is even if I can actually wake up and have food to eat first. Yeah. Or I have shelter, or I am secure, then I can think of, I want to have values. So you get my line of thought.
Absolutely.
So when I saw this, I was like, this is very, very profound. Because if you look at it, basic needs, the physiological needs, their belonging and love needs. How many people's needs are met? Belonging and love needs, intimate relationship, friends. Then you go to the esteem, whereby you actually trying to discover yourself. You feel you are discovering who you are. Because a lot of people we don't even know ourselves. Then to the point of self-fulfillment needs and all the other rest. So now my question is, for countries where the basic needs or the physical, all those needs are not being met, how are they supposed to think of values?
So
the thing is, okay,
let me address, and it's good you came to this. So if you could show that diagram again.
Okay.
So if you look at this diagram, there is nothing on this diagram, nothing that can be achieved by me.
And then you are talking.
There is nothing on this diagram that can be achieved by me. And
Mm.
I'm saying this not just from somebody else. I'm living in Nigeria, obviously. I decided to stay based here and all of that. But I'm also speaking from a place of personal experience. So personally, right, and most of us have these stories. I'm coming from a family where my dad is an entrepreneur, right? And to entrepreneurship is that, you can be soaring, and then one economic policy hits like this and everything, is upside down. So what I mean is that I'm from a place where I've had the privilege of being born with a silver spoon. I've also had the privilege of going from grace to grass, right, as a family, where we didn't even have a place to stay, right? And it was an interesting period, right, even for me. And then, in just a couple of years, it turns around again, right? And the lesson I learned from all of this was, and I realized that in those very dark days, our values as myself, my siblings, my family, my dad, my mom, did not change. It didn't. Not because there was problem with food or shelter. It did not change. Because, like I said, values have nothing to do with me. That once we have a value system that is tied to me, there's an anomaly. It's wrong. There's something wrong with that, right? And I would not kid you. It is impossible to instill those kind of values in a grown adult. So I think where we need to start from, there are two areas, and we've already touched on them. And that one is, we need to start talking to the adults that are parents today. Those are young parents, those that will become parents, right? Because these things have to be instilled in families. That's really where it starts. And that's why, from a scriptural and spiritual point of view, you can see that the unit, the part of society, right, or the unit of society that's been attacked the most today, right, with all the things that are happening and laws and policies, is family, right? Families are being attacked left, right, and center. In some countries, I'm aware, you could have your child taken away from you, right, because you're having some issues. Not that you're a bad parent, just maybe financial issues. You take your child away from you. Things like you cannot scold the child. Yes, you're trying to protect from abuse, but then what about the downside of that? And there are a lot of other things. So it's not easy, right? But that is where it starts from. Even in Africa. So I stopped listening to that excuse. No, we don't have lights. No, that's rubbish. That's not true. The problem is that we have a value system that is built around me, that is built around what car do you drive, what houses have you built. That's the problem. And even if you instill in some children, that value of no, it's not about that. When you enter society, your elders, and people around you will come back with the same thing, and so you're under attack mentally. You're personally under attack. People are asking you, why haven't you done this? Why don't you have I see your mates have bought Escalade. You don't have one. What are you doing? And all those funny things. So it's a constant battle. And personally, I think that we need to prepare our own children to be warriors, really. Because you're going to be fighting. They're going to be fighting all sorts of contrary views, right? And I think that's where it starts from. Yeah. I think a generation needs to pass, or 2 generations, right, for us to see this happen. Yes, that's I'm but we have to do the work now. One thing I see African leaders, a lot of African leaders don't have that long-term planning. Like, they don't do it. Some countries plan their economies, plan for 50 years, right? I think it's the same. We need to plan for 50 years. We need to plan for 100 years, right? We will not see the fruit now, but we know that in 100 years' time, we have a society where these things have been fixed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with Alende on that. Absolutely. Because there's something that I've said recently, even on with the Adarabmon platform, that the things that we're saying now, you know, a lot of things, like he said, we have to raise warriors, because yes, there's a lot of things that we would need to fight, but it's not, we must, in fighting those things, we must be patient, because we're coming against, you know, a lot of things. And if there's anything that as adults we fight, is anything that would change our value system or what we already hold, you know, hold as our value system. So I've been saying, look, the most important thing is our children would know that we didn't stay silent where it mattered the most. But to expect that change like right now and now, it's almost like wanting to build a house and then you spend one day building the foundation. You must also expect that house to come crashing after a while. But if you want the foundation to be solid, it's going to take a while. And, you know, I won't say unfortunately, I'll just say interestingly, we happen to be at that stage where we're going to build the foundation. It's going to take a while to lay it, to build it, to structure it, you know, and like he said, 50 years down the line, it may be 100 years down the line. But the most important thing is, did we do the work that needed to be done in our time, so that when the future ones come, they can then build on the foundation, and those that will put the roofing on top of the house will do their job when it gets to their time as well. You know, and I was just going to add that there's an adage that says, what the drunkard has in him is what he spills out when he's drunk. Something like that. I'm not sure if I've translated it well, but something like that. That's exactly what the case says with the poor man. So well value system, it amplifies it. So whether you're poor or you're rich, your value system is your value system. The level of your wealth would only amplify what you hold as your value system. So not having enough, because I would stay away from calling anyone a poor person, but not having enough or not having what you need at that particular time is not enough it's not enough of an excuse not to hold on the right value system, like Linda rightly said.
Okay, so I want to ask a question. So for somebody now, people will have excuses and say, okay, I don't have money, I don't have a job, you know, I'm hungry and this and that. They will give excuses that's why they are stealing. You know, some people will say that, yes, the country probably, they stole a lot of money, you know, that is just going to be just doing part of their business, like to just help, like justifying. So yesterday I watched a movie, it's called Good Citizen. It's called Good Citizen on Rock. And, you know, they were talking about this guy was a taxi man, and somebody forgot like money, a lot of money in his car. And, you know, the wife was not saying that you have to return that money. He said, like, what? He said, I'm a graduate and I'm driving taxi. You know, that you're telling me that this is the answer to the prayer that you have been praying. You know, that I should tell that you're telling me that I should go and return it. You know, like there's some, you know, people will come up with different things and say, okay, so now in such instances, you know, a lot of things, even probably even in Africa, everywhere too, that there's a compromise. It's not that they don't have values, but there's a huge compromise. You know, it's not just, I don't think it's just so easy, like clear cut and say, yeah, my values is still going to stay. Like, you know, you're hungry, you don't have to eat or whatever. People go, they steal. They go and steal. It's not that they don't have values, you know. But so how do they? There's a thin line, really. There's a thin line. Yeah. So how do people stay that uncompromised? You know.
My response, my response to that will be a quote that I saw this week, actually. So from time to time, I have a family chat with the kids and the family, and I just dropping, a golden nugget every now and then. And I saw one that I dropped into the chat this week, and it just says the road to hell, is paved with good intentions. And so that really got me thinking, it got me thinking a lot. I had to do some soul searching, that have I been on the road to hell with a lot of, that's paved with a lot of good intentions. You mean well. I'm broke. I don't have money. And look, I mean well, I just want a better life for myself. But, it's just leading you to hell. And the truth is, there's consequences for every single thing that we do in life. And as I get older, I'm getting more and more conscious of that every single step I take, every word I speak, everything I do has a consequence. And sometimes I may have forgotten what I had done. And when the consequences hit, then it becomes another whole story. So we mustn't lose that good conscience in us because we're in a difficult place. It's temptation, I know, and it's testing. It's just a test of our value system if you find yourself in that position. So your response then is, am I going to give in to this test, or am I going to bear the hardship now, and hopefully at the end of the day enjoy the beauty of having having held on to my value systems, or whatever value systems at that point in time, because everything has a consequence. So if you decide to go for the quicker solution, you would still have to bear some consequences. If you decide to deny yourself of that other person's money because of taking that other person's money, well, denying quotes, you're still going to bear some consequences in the future. But everything that we do, we would always reap it. It's the law of nature. You sow, you reap. So you sow theft because you're in a difficult situation, you would reap the benefits of theft some point in your life, at some stage. So it's worth thinking about before you make those excuses. And they're very comfortable excuses to make. They're very, very, in quote, reasonable excuses as well at times. But you just have to think about the long run as opposed to a short, the quick short fix.
Yeah. And also, that I mean, excuses is what I want to say. There are other excuses that are popularly accepted. Oh, I'm not just happy with my husband, so I just have to cheat on him. I'm not happy with my wife, so I have to just or I just have to go this way, and I have to. And instead, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Is that the quote? Yeah, the road to hell.
Yes.
Is paved. The road to hell is paved.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Okay, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Now, I think, now everybody should take a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. This is an aha moment for you. There comes a point in a person's life. It's true. As we grow older, we realize there comes a point in your life, you think about it, you talk to yourself, and you tell yourself the truth. You can lie to people. But when you talk to yourself, come to yourself and talk to yourself, what do I really want out of life? What do I want to stand for out of life? Because at the end of the day, all of these material things, all of these things, they are just, we will leave them here. We are going to leave them here. All of this, you have to have this mansion, you have to have this, you have to have that. All of these things that, a lot of things are being destroyed because of material things. There comes a point in a person's that I actually want to say something also. Now, values, when it even comes to values, even in relationships, there comes to a point in your life, you look at it and say, am I going to continue with this or say no? There comes to a point also, we value for your life also. Having a value to value your life. When you're in an abusive relationship, in families, we talk about domestic violence, talk about different things like that. You value your life. You come to a realization to yourself and say no. You say no. A lot of people are dying in silence because they don't really value their life. So part of the values that we should have also, we should value our life. Value your mental health. Value, God wants you. We have a purpose for your life. Value your life. Okay, now very quickly, the next question is, when we talk about core values, what are core values and why have them? What are core values and why have them?
Anybody? There's something that says that if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything. Or I don't know if I get that right. If you don't have a principle, if you don't have a value, anything anybody comes to you and say, you just accept it. It's very important for you to have your own personal belief. It's very important for you to have your own core value, because if you don't, you would, as human beings, we have different seasons in our lives. We will find ourselves in different places, meet different people. And if we don't have our core value, we'll be easily influenced by other people's values, We'll be easily influenced by what they say. We'll be easily influenced by what they are doing, and start comparing yourself you start judging yourself, you start falling into temptations. So if you don't have your core value is what you stand by, that no matter what happens, you will stand by this belief that you believe in. So if you don't have that, if you don't have your own personal belief, then anything anybody says to you is all, it will go, and then you end up just being frustrated, depressed. And I feel that's where all this depression, comparison, just living a fake life comes from, because you don't have a core value. Probably you came up, you were brought up in a family where anything goes, do live however you like, you know. So you have to value yourself. Like you said, you have to value your own life. What do you want in life? And if you want something out of life, you want to fulfill purpose, it's very important for you to have your own personal belief, because if you stand for nothing, you fall for anything, like I said.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I think I'll add to that.
And then we'll come to Abraham. Yeah, we'll come to Abraham. Yeah. Yes.
I'll add to that, and I'll go on the back of what you were saying about valuing yourself. So for me, one of the core values, and which every parent should teach their children, is the value of self-respect and respect for others. You know, respecting yourself. There's so much in that self-respect and respect for others. Others, respect for their spaces, respect for everything that's them. You know, so that for me would be one of the key core values: self-respect and respect for others.
For others. Beautiful. Abby? Abby?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone else has said. Important to have a core value. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Or is my network breaking up? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear.
I think while you were talking, I was kind of trying to look up a scripture, but I couldn't really find it. But I think it was in Joshua, where God was saying that be strong and courageous when he was talking to Joshua. But the one thing he said is, it wasn't just the fact that he said, I'm with you alone, but he told him that this law, like, it was just, well, not good with the scriptures, probably you can help me. So I'm like, what I get from that was saying that even when it comes to spiritual, saying that, look, even though I'm here to protect you, and I'm saying don't be afraid, that I'll be with you at all times. But the one thing that's important, my principles, do not break them. You know, so now let's apply that to ourselves. I think a lot of times, because with the lack of core values at times, there are a lot of policies and not take as a result of that. You know, it's like I was saying that if you stand for nothing, you fall for nothing.
Everything.
There's a consequences to everything. So if you do not have those core values, people that you apply to yourself, and that's you don't have anything to guide you in life. And that's the reason why I find that even, for example, well, I know this is probably going too deep now. In having, well, wrong word. I'm struggling to even use the word. So, for example, having sex, being married, you know, that's an example. So, which means you could end up with a baby, even though sorry, I don't want you. And that's an example of something that is probably very common within our community.
Yeah.
And we take it away from that. We can take it even into other things. I think it's just important that we have set of values and core values that we stand for, and that would guide us as a person. And maybe those core values that we can, like our brother Eledu was saying, that you can instill core values into your children and values, and obviously by you being able to demonstrate that, look, not just by saying it, but actually leaving those words, and they can see by those principles and those values of yours, and then that I'm sure we would see a transformation in our community.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And just to add to that, something came to my mind, like the Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go, and they will not depart from it. So two characters in the Bible that I like to think about a lot. Naaman's servant girl, that she was taken as a slave, you know, I'm pretty sure that they would have killed her parents. She could have lived with the Naaman's family and hate them that, oh, you killed my family, you took me as a slave. But I'm pretty sure that her parents has instilled good values in her, that she did not hate them. She even saw the opportunity to help heal her master, and she did not hold back, because she probably would have been taught that, oh, love people who do you wrong. She probably would have been taught a lot of good values, and she still held on to, even when she was far away from home. And she
Mm.
was still able to go there and say, okay, this man can heal my master. Another
Mm.
person would be Daniel. Daniel and the three, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. When they were feeding them, they brought them to Babylon to feed them, to train them to be in the king's court. They were trying to feed them different things. They were like, no, we're not going to eat this. We're going to just give us fruits and vegetables and compare us to other children. They stood out. They stood by what they believed in. Even when they were told, the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was told to bow down before the statue, they were like, we will not be careful to answer you in this. We are not going to bow down. We're not going to bow down to your whatever, because even if God is not going to save us, we still will not bow down. They stood with their beliefs, even at the face of death. So I believe that's the way we should, like, to change the narrative, to change the perspective. Even in the face of difficulties, we can't afford to compromise. We can't afford to say, oh, this one did me bad, so I'm not even going to render help to that person, because how are you going to effect that change in that person? Because what you do might even, like, oh, even with what I did to this person, they still decide to help me. So we need to train our children that way, and also ourselves as well, like our values. In as much as it's our principles, we need to be able to let, like, because a lot of times, like I always say, we are the Bible that people read, and the way we live is very important. you know the way we live and say things and act is very important. So that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you so much. 1 minute. I'll give Elendu 1 minute just to add anything that you feel.
Yeah, so one thing Tayo said that is critical and really hit it home was Daniel's story, right? The Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego story. Even if he does not save us, I will perish. It's fine. Let us perish. And that is one thing even God has personally taught me over time. See, Lendo, it is not about just living, right? It is what you stand for, what you do, right, when you live. The problem is that people are interested in just living long, right? Jesus lived for only 33 years. Just 33, and he changed the world. So the problem is people are stuck on living long. Just be alive till the next day. What are you being alive for? Exactly what for? You get? And so Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, as children of God, have been taught the same. And they're like, see, if I perish, right, I perish. If I don't get a job, right, I'm looking for a job, right? Okay, God, are you going to watch me die? You don't understand? There's no way you will die. It's you understand? So that is what leads to these things. Is people start, there's despair. People allow fear, despair, and then they're like, no, I have to leave. Oh no, this my friend is doing well. No, you can't end like this for me. I must, show them I can do something by all means. It's fine. You've showed them. You now have a car and 3 houses. What next? That's the question. What next? So I think that's it, right? I told you that it's really important that we actually start focusing more on family family programs, right? Teaching people about parenting. Some people think when you become a father, you automatically know how to be a father. It's not true. You have to be taught in a lot of cases. So teach people how to raise godly children, not just godly children. When you say godly, it sounds like it's religious. So I don't say, just teach children
upright. To be upright citizens, upright, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Uprightly, exactly. So, and I think we need to do more and more and more of that. Like a lot of work needs to be done there, really.
Yeah, we are starting. We are on it. We're on it. But this has been so juicy, and I'm definitely sure people are going to be writing, what I mean, just take your notes and write. And one question came to me now. Actually, 2 questions before we go. I want us to finish at 1:30. 2 questions before we go. Now, what is the role of, one person can answer it, just one person. What is the role of bad company on maintaining good values?
It destroys it.
They will not.
It destroys it. It's
That's
just
it,
like
basically.
put one rotten apple in a basket of other apple, with other apples. Before long, they'll all be rotten.
Yeah.
It just quietly just chips away one after the other, and you won't. The worst bit of it is you won't even realize it, that you're losing your own value system. And that's why show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah. Even the Bible says bad company corrupts good manners,
Absolutely. So it's like you have dirt in one hand and you're trusting that you won't pass on the dirt to any other part of your body. Don't be too long. Even if you don't do it while you're awake, when you're asleep, somehow the hand will touch something, whether it touches your thigh or you roll over somewhere, it will contaminate something around you somehow.
So now my question is, what do you say to people, especially when it comes to I'm not being biased, I just want to, the male gender. Let me just I'm just asking a question. I'm not attacking anybody. I just want to, when it comes to the male gender, I think I've noticed that, they don't just like to be bored, like everything. So I'd rather just hang out. I'd rather just go to the club. I'd rather just do stuff because I don't just want to be bored. I just, I might not have the really quality people that I want to surround myself with, but I just want to go. I'll just go with the available.
We're just available. I think if I could speak for the men, I could be wrong. They could fix it up.
I want to hear their point of view. Okay, yeah.
Well, in 30 seconds, I'll just say one thing that I know that is true for men. I mean, it's not an excuse for them now, but one thing I know that's true for men are very logical thinkers. So it doesn't mean that they cannot be corrupted by bad company, but it's just that sometimes they're able to filter through. And they're well guarded because they're not reasoning with their emotions like we women do. So a man could be befriending another man, but yeah, he's very well guarded that he knows his lines with this person. But he may not completely stay away from, but he definitely knows where the line is and he's constantly watching it. So that's what I think. But I'll let them speak to themselves.
Okay. That's actually, I never thought about that before.
Okay, so yeah, so let me speak to that. So I think she's just spot on there. So like she said, and I think that's something a lot of women don't realize. Men actually have a lot of mental fortitude and guards and compartments. When you now decide to take off the boundaries, right? That's where it starts, right? And that's where having the right value system as a child is key. So there are some things that you would never, like, no matter what is happening, I will never do it. Never, right? You would have to kill me. I will not do it. Not because of fear, but because it has sort of been ingrained at this point into my DNA that I cannot do it. It's not, you get. So, yeah.
So, thank God, for you, it's like, okay, I can't do this. But like for a lot of people, it's not that easy. For that, a lot of people, it's not that easy to just say no and stop. And then, as GB also said, and you also affirmed it, that they have a mental guard. So is that saying really true then for men to say that bad company corrupts good manners? But I feel like it's just a matter of time. No matter what mental guards that you have, it's just a matter of time. The bad company is still going to corrupt your good manners.
Yeah, so
that's going to be a big for another show.
That's another.
Yeah,
because we don't have time, we don't really have time. So to round it all up, let me just say something here. For people that are watching and the viewers right there, your true value can only be found in God, and God is full with goodness. So if you want all the fruits, we're talking about family values, we're talking about our family values, economical values, social values, digital values.
Yes, very important
values. Yes, these are the kind of examples of values that you need to think about, and you need to instill in yourself and to have. So your true value can only be found in God. So if you don't have God, please find him. And my God is my friend. His name is Jesus. So if you don't have him, please, an opportunity today, go get him. Go get him. Go get him. All right. Okay. So now for all of our guests, we're just going to, I'll give you 30 seconds each to just say, what is the take-home message for today? Just 30 minutes. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So I'll go for Tayo. Tayo, 30 seconds. Take-home message. What is take-home message for today?
Two things. What Elendu said, value is a system that can be built on. So we can build on values, and what GB said as well. If we change the me to we will achieve much more. So teamwork makes the dream work.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, Abby.
Yeah, I think. So I'll just give it a shot as well. I think I have to give it to Adiri. So it has to be changing the me to the we. So we need to start thinking more in the we. Just thinking more in teamwork. There's more to be achieved together. Collectively, we can build a mountain, or we can move a mountain rather. And we've seen that in other culture. Might not have seen it in our culture, but yes, if we start adopting a narrative about ourselves, we would see the change happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Elendu?
Yeah, so I think for me, one realization I take away from this is the amount of work that needs to be done in, raising godly parents and godly children. There's a lot of work in actually teaching people parenting, what it's about, and creating a safe space for even the children that are being groomed, right? They like I said, when you keep bad company, right, it will corrupt good values. So for children that are still very malleable, if you don't create a safe space for them, you would never end up teaching them what you want to teach them, because once they get out, they get corrupted, they come back, they're always resetting. You have to do the work again and again and again and again and again. So yes, it's actually very critical. So I'll probably from now actually spend more time actually trying to work with people that are doing that, right? Because it's a lot of work. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And finally, GB.
Yeah. So my last word I'd say for the morning or the afternoon would be the word of God in Psalm 127. It talks about children being an arrow in the hands of a warrior. And for any parent listening out there, there's so many things that are not going the way they should, and we could talk about it from now until forever. But there is one thing that is going well, which is that we have children. We have a lot of parents, and we can actually effect quicker change than the government could. So just like the arrow in the hands of the warrior, let's do what a warrior does with his arrow. He makes sure his arrow is in order, ready to fight, because when he throws the arrow, he doesn't know where the arrow would land or what it would hit, but he just makes sure that he's fully ready. So let's be that warrior, guard ourselves, do what we need to do, sharpen our arrows, whatever needs to be done, just do it right and let the arrow go land wherever it would be. I always love to say this, that Barack Obama's mom, she shot her own arrow and it landed in the White House. She didn't know it was going to, but it landed there. So prepare your arrow and let's just keep working and do what we can, and let's see where they land and what changes they'll be able to make in their own sphere of influence as well.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was awesome, and that has been so awesome. I hope you're taking notes, everybody. Thank you so much to all of our guests. Thank you, Abraham, Brother Abe. Thank you, Tayo. Thank you, GB and Tibi. Thank you, Elendu. Thank you so much. And I hope, you learned one or two things, and we should go out there and light our candle in our world, whatever it is, your family, your little small influence or big influence, whatever it is, because it's a we thing. we think we should put the me upside down, and it's now we. A we thing. We are all here for a purpose. Let us find it, and we can only find it in God. So thank you all so much for watching today, and we'll see you next time in our episode. So thank you so much.